The night after my mother's funeral, I ended up alone in my kitchen. Not in a dramatic way, just everyone had gone home. The phone had stopped ringing. The day was over. And suddenly, there was nothing left to do except exist in the space. I hadn't really eaten. I wasn't hungry, but I knew I should cook something. You know how it is, you do small normal things because they read the only things that still make sense. So I was standing there, cutting vegetables, moving slowly, not really thinking about anything in particular. I wasn't crying. I wasn't calm either. It was that weird middle state where you feel everything, but it's all kind of muted. I put some music on. I didn't choose anything specific. I just let something play in the background. Earlier that day, during the funeral, the rabbi had said something that stayed with me. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't meant to be profound. He just said, very simply, be attentive. You may receive signs. At the time, I didn't react to it. I'm not the kind of person who looks for signs. I don't interpret things like that. But grief has a way of making certain sentences stick in your head whether you want them to or not. So hours later, there I was in my kitchen, tired, emotionally drained, half on autopilot, half somewhere else. And that sentence came back to me, not in a mystical way, just as a thought passing through. The song that was playing was a rap track from an old compilation tied to a French film. I hadn't listened to it in years. I couldn't tell you why it came on. It just did. I was stirring something on the stove when one line in the song caught my attention. The rapper said, even when I'm gone, you'll still feel my presence. And that's when the kitchen light flickered. Just once. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't like I imagined it. It was a clear, sharp flicker. On, off. Back to normal. I stopped moving immediately. Like my body reacted before my brain did. I didn't drop the spoon, but my hand froze midair. And I felt this wave go through me. Chills straight up my arms, across my neck, down my back. I remember thinking very clearly, okay, that was strange. I looked up at the light. It was steady again. No buzzing, no flickering, nothing unusual. That bulb had never flickered before. Not once, and I lived in that place long enough to know. And it never flickered again after that night. I stood there for a bit, not really sure what to do next. The song kept playing. The stove was still on. Everything else was normal. Too normal, I didn't say anything out loud. I didn't laugh. I didn't freak out. I didn't start crying. I just stood there, breathing, trying to understand why my body was reacting the way it was. Because here's the thing, I wasn't thinking, this is a sign. I wasn't thinking anything supernatural. I wasn't trying to assign meaning to it. What confused me was the physical reaction, the intensity of it, the timing, the way it hit before I had time to analyze anything. Eventually, I turned the stove off. I don't even remember if I finished cooking. I honestly don't remember eating. What I remember is sitting down afterward and replaying the moment in my head, calmly, like I was checking facts. The line in the song, the thought about what the rabbi said, the flicker. I went through the obvious explanations. Old wiring, power fluctuation, a bad bulb. All of that made sense. None of it was unreasonable. But none of it explained why that exact moment felt different from everything else that day. I didn't tell anyone about it that night. I didn't feel like sharing it. Not because it was sacred or anything like that, but because I didn't want it analyzed or joked about or explained away. It felt like something that only existed because I had experienced it. In the days that followed, life slowly went back to normal, in the way it always does after a funeral. People go back to work. Conversations shift. The world keeps moving. I kept going into that kitchen, and I noticed myself glancing up at the light sometimes without really meaning to. It never flickered again. Not once. Part of me was relieved. Part of me was almost disappointed, and that contradiction stuck with me too. If it had flickered again, it would have become a problem to fix. Something ordinary, something forgettable. But it didn't. That moment stayed isolated, untouched. I still don't know what it was. I don't try to label it. I don't claim it meant anything specific. I don't claim it was a message or a sign or anything like that. All I know is what happened. A thought, a lyric, a flickering light, and a reaction I didn't control. Grief does something to your attention. You notice things more, or maybe you're just more exposed, more open, less protected by routine. Maybe it was just timing. Maybe it was coincidence. Maybe it was my nervous system being raw. I'm fine with all of those explanations. What I'm not fine with is pretending it didn't matter. Because it did, not in a grand way, not in a life-changing way, but it stayed with me. Quietly, years later, I still think about that night. Not often, not obsessively, just every now and then when I remember how real it felt, how grounded it was, how unremarkable and strange at the same time. I never tried to recreate it. I never waited for another moment like it. I never went looking for answers. I just carry it with me, not as proof of anything, just as something that happened. Something I don't need to explain.